Hello YouTube. So I've received a comment about doing burpees and ways that you can avoid hurting your back while doing burpees. There's a couple things that concern me with burpees. One, not somewhat, and then the other is this. One is the knees. It could be stressful on your knees, and to avoid getting any types of damage, I would be aware of how intense you're doing your burpees, and also about your nutrition as well, because if your body's not healthy, it's going to take damage and become stressed. When you can have a good amount of practice and a good amount of nutrition, you can avoid messing up knees. So it's a muscle, a tendon, and you're going to want to build that up slowly and also vitalize it with nutrition. Okay, now the back, the way I perceive the back, actually the lower back, is a very important body part to take care of. It's because right now I'm young, I'm 31 years old, but if I grow into an older man, 40, 45, however old, I want to make sure that I have a good lower back, because many of us have struggles to even bend over and pick something off the ground, and that's due to your back. And that's something that I like to take care of. And one tip that I have is from Arnold Schwarzenegger, who says that when people are using machines at the gym, they're not exercising their lower back. And that's what his concern is. If they're on the flat press bench, there's no back in there. I mean, actually the machine, versus say free weights, using free weights, dumbbell flies, or even using as a push. So he prefers the free weights, and that's a start for our conversation of using care into your back. I just recently started to exercise my lower back by doing more calisthenics. There's different things that I do. I'm always stretching my back, whether it's turning in a position such as stretching it out at work. I get a good pop, like, just kind of stretching it out. Or if I am done doing a serious workout, I will use a workout mat, to also stretch it out. I like to lay on a flat ground. A flat ground's good to focus on your back. There's different things you can do, such as, you could put your hands behind your head and do leg raises. Also bring your knees up, that'll pop your back. Or you can lift your legs above and it'll get focus into your spine. You can pull your neck, or even just staying focused and putting care into your back. There's also something that I like to do is I have a bar, and sometimes I like to go ahead and stretch out the back. There's a couple YouTubers who they're able to stretch out by just hanging. So keeping a good stretch on your back and realizing that it's a muscle and it has to be worked out. There's another one I've learned. It's by going in a reverse position like this. You're able to stretch it out as well. But right now we're doing burpees daily, and there's one stretch that can help you focus before I started to stretch, I was not able to touch my toes easily. And this is a good stretch here. It'll stretch your legs, also your back as well. So stretches, I would recommend holding them for about 20 seconds. And besides this, there's a few other stretches that I'd like to share with you. Also, that is a toe touch, and then you're able to stretch this here. It's not really focused on your back as much, but you can touch one toe, you can touch the other toe, and then your hamstring. That's how I started. These are stretches that if you do them constantly, you can progress at them and become more flexible. So another good workout that you can do to help your back, I would say, is just the simple toe touch. Don't be afraid to give yourself good cardio exercise by just touching your toes. The burpee is a combination of different exercises. You have the toe touch, as you can see, and then the squat, right? Body weight squat, you can hold it like this, or you can focus more on your back and put your hands behind your head. It's up to you, but if you put enough time and effort, you can figure out the way you prefer. Now, also the burpee consists of the push-up. So plenty of push-ups, practice, and you can combine the three and start to work on your burpee. But like I said, if you're beginner to working out, I would say that the burpee is a little more advanced, and it's not bad if you try to work on these different exercises. So, like I said, it's a combination of different exercises, and just putting that care into your exercise. We can do your toe touch, you know, spend some time, spend 30 minutes, you know, touching your toes. There's a good YouTuber. He's in my playlist. I believe he's from Africa, but he'll do body weights workouts. He does his squats like this, you know, it'll stretch your that's more of your hips. Also, you can do knees, right? This is good to help your back out. You can also practice kicks like this. It'll help also focus, stretch on that back. Like I said, we cannot stress how important the back muscle is with the spine, because that, if you have a good foundation, you could do a lot of exercises with the strong back. So like I said, staying focused and being aware of your back, stretching it, using the exercise mat, and just knowing that there's a difference between, you know, machines and calisthenics / free weights, and starting to develop your lower back, even your upper back. There's different exercises you can do to work on your back. Once you decide to work on your upper back, you can, I don't do these too much, but I hear that if you just go like this, it's good for your upper back, right? So a lot of times you can catch me walking my miles, you know, hitting my knees. Sometimes I throw some kicks, you know. I'm pretty good at that. if I'm at work, I might find like a corner desk or something and kind of like stretch my back out a little bit. It's a little hard to display right now, but also I'm pretty good at popping my back. You might figure out how, you know, for you, what's a good way to stretch your back out. But sometimes you just to get a good stretch, you gotta stretch forward, and then you can stretch backwards. You could use a weight and just, you know, give yourself a good stretch. And don't be afraid of it. A lot of people they try to avoid back workouts. They try to avoid using their back in workouts, but you have to use it in order to build strength. So with that being said, I'd recommend practicing the basic of the burpees, whether it's push-ups. We have different ways to get better at push-ups. Honestly, for me, what started for me, once again, Arnold Schwarzenegger had advice about the chest, doing dumbbell flies on a bench. I used these 30s and I was able to get a good pump. That's how I started. It's basic of the push-up, you know. It really took off. So we'll start with the base. Just basic flies, right? You get a good stretch, but don't. 30s are, once again, I didn't start with 30s, but this is how I started to build my chest up, and I got better at push-ups. And now, before burpees, there's a push-up that I like to do. Is a quarter rep push-up, which further focuses on the chest. It keeps the concentration in the muscle. So it's not a hard one, but it's a way that you can concentrate in the muscle. Burpees you might not be ready for them. You have to start working. So that's a push-up. The way I started with body weight with my squats, I started developing little muscles. You know, I'm doing better, but I wasn't always this way. So I started my squats by doing body weight, and I had to push myself. For me, the magic number was 60. I did 60 body weight squats while I weighed 190 pounds or 185 pounds. So after I was able to push past that 60, my mold was broken and I was able to have momentum. So I've done my squats and I've done my push-ups, and like I said, toe touches, right? And then just consistently using your muscle fibers, keeping up with your health and your diet. You're gonna want to focus on your diet, making sure you're prioritizing healthy meals. Not so much of the sodas, not so much of the cheese. Cheese builds mucus. Not so much of the candies. Not so much of chips, but more simple and plain things that you can use, like salads, maybe some beans, or some baked chicken. You know, things that when you're hungry you eat, but you're not overeating. So like I said, a good thing is to, whenever you're walking, make sure you can focus on those knee touches. There's different ones you can do. like I said, we can a good channel I would recommend is Roberta's Gym, and they're good at doing stretching exercises. I'll put them in the description. So like I said, it's a process, and you don't want to jump into it if you're not ready, but there's no doubt it's a learning method, and your body is adapting to whatever you put it through. So what doesn't hurt, what doesn't kill you, is gonna make you stronger, and just want to build up little by little and stay consistent. Also, like I said, put a lot of care into your back. Be aware, take these little lessons that you're learning and keep them in your heart and your mind, and use them, because it's not for nothing. This is from people who have been there and done that. And also realize that you have a lot of resources at the moment. Like I said, I'm gonna put Roberta's Gym just to get you started in that motion, that stretching motion. And from me to you, I could say, whenever I'm tired or I've got nothing else to do, I will stretch my back, and I'll use the floor. I use the floor, run some kicks, you know. My back arches a little bit, I can flatten my back, start, you know, doing a little bit different variation. Knees, I could bring my knees forward. There's different ways. Right here I can rock my knees, you know, rock them. Do this for about 20 reps pretty consistently, and you'll feel it the next day. I promise you that. This is a good way that you can release the oxygen that's in your back, because a lot of it, when it comes to your spine, pull using your neck. I like to stretch my neck out a little bit. Sometimes I'll, you know, stretch my neck, left, right, you know. You can rotate your neck, right? Getting that spine movement. And just, you know, consistently just taking care of yourself. And when you're ready, you'll be able to do burpees. Like I said, I've only been doing burpees for about 12 days, but I like it because I'm not the best at working out my legs. That's my calves and my thighs. I'm not your professional leg builder. I was when I was lifting weights, but this is my ticket to legs. And my knees, you know, I heard somebody say some people overdid it and they messed up their knees. But like I said, I would listen to your body. Even when you're tired, you feel like you're down and out, there's some things that you could put into your body, such as fruits and vegetables, juices, you know, that'll help you revitalize and give you energy. So like I said, don't overdo yourself if you can't handle it, and start crafting your own, molding your body. That's whether it's your thighs, your calves. You can do toe raises, you know. Just another advice I can give you is from Bruce Lee, and it's not really his advice, but it's what he believed in. And that's, look, these are together. You can toe touch separate or inwards, and the more angle you give it, the bigger your calves will get. That's what I learned. But like I said, Bruce Lee believed in training the whole body. And know your strengths, know your weaknesses, but don't be afraid. Like I said, when you put in, for me, I put in more into my upper body, but I knew it was just a matter of time before I start getting into my legs. So posture, think about your posture, right? It's good to have good posture. Push-ups, if you keep your back straight, you're gonna have better posture when you stand up. If you do crunches, work on your abs. A lot of this is core. A lot of this comes from your core. If you're doing abs, for me, sometimes I'll do like 100 crunches, and when I stand up straight. When I sit down, I'm able to sit straight. I'm not the, like, you know, I slouch sometimes, but it's something that I work on and I think about. And it's mentality. It's about the mentality of fitness. It's a mentality of working out, and it's a mentality of prioritizing this over other things. So one motion I could do with the back, right? We love our back so much, is take a dumbbell and just go ahead and rock it, right? Rock it. Maybe it's a 15-pounder, maybe it's a 30-pounder, maybe it's a 40-pounder. Talking about the sledge motion above, you know, don't hurt yourself, but just stretching it, you know. There's different things you can do. I can get down a little bit. You can hold it backwards, but then you can pop your back inwards, right? Just focusing and working on the back. I do that. You can find me doing that sometimes when I'm walking. I'm walking, I'm just, you know, just pushing it, getting that focus in that back. So I've been doing good so far. No injuries during my workouts at all. I'm a very conscientious person. That means I think about my safety. I think about all of my surroundings and everything that's going on. I'm careful not to do things that'll jeopardize my fitness. And we just gotta make sure to take care of ourselves. So that's my message. There's different channels you could check out. Maybe utilizing a pull-up bar to stretch your back out, or, you know, just doing different poses, yoga poses, or, you know, stretches, rocking on the exercise mat. And then when, like I said, burpees, the back has not really been my main concern, but when I do push-ups, I notice when I do burpees, all of my muscles from the inside started to grow. It was like a shock. So basically what I would say is learn how to start to work out your lower back. Stay flexible and learn the basics. If you could, you know, start to grow on your knowledge, you can utilize tools and have mentalities to avoid injuries and become better. Then, like I said, stick to the basics. Also, you know, just do these things, you know, just keep it simple. Learn and stick to the basics, and you can do better for yourself. Okay? So, like I said, we love the back. We love, you know, exercising. We love ourselves, and we just utilize that mentality. All right? So we'll keep it at that. Peace.